It's Thursday morning. You know what that means. AEW review. We got Blood and Guts, baby. We're going to be talking about that. Are there too many factions in AEW? And we have bitch moves by the young boy. This is TSL.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back to Total Spotfest Live. I am JJ Brownlee. With me, as he is every Tuesday and Thursday morning, is my co-host, Mr. Jamie Faulkner.
What's up, Maxes?
And with us today is a very special person who has his audio and video working, we believe. It is the man who was voted best nipples on Chatterbait, the ninth wonder of the world, Nick.
Yeah, I guess I owe everyone an apology for my Spinal Tap moment last episode. These things happen.
Do you? Nobody heard your voice last episode, so
maybe it was for the best.
Maybe
it was for the best.
Maybe.
If you listened to us on Tuesday, Nick had some technical difficulties, so we had to piece it together. We didn't have the video, but what's funny is like me and Jamie got into it. Jamie got super triggered, and Nick actually calmed us down at the end before we wrapped it up. So we go from like this heated discussion to, well, thanks for joining us. Bye. But that's life.
I still hold firm on Shawn Michaels.
I know you do. I hold firm on. We're very firm people.
Not really.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on. Thank you guys for joining us. This is Total Spotfest Live. We do appreciate it. This is our Thursday AEW review. Last night, Blood and Guts. Finally, we're going to talk all about it. We got some other things we're going to get into before that. I do want to say, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. We do appreciate it. You can give us a comment down below for anything you want to talk about. Give us a shout at Twitter. That's at Total Spotfest. Me and Jamie, our Twitters are displayed. If you're listening to us and you want to holler at us, it's at JFaulkner56 for Jamie, at JMoney1536 for me. Nick is not on the socials because that's a wise move. And give us a like, give us a subscribe if you're listening to us on any of your podcast stations. We truly would appreciate a review. It does help us boost up our indexing so we can be a little more visible so more people are out there. Please tell your friends to join in if you like what you see. And we're going to get right into it. Well, kind of. We're not going to dive into Dynamite yet because there's a couple bits of AEW news I wanted to kind of just talk to you guys about. I don't know if you heard about this or not. So, first of all, there's a lot. This is a time of year. WW does their releases, so there's always like this. May is always the month of rumors, who's going to sign where, free agent season, if you would. So there's some interesting free agent news, if you want to call it news, that's been out there. The first one that came out was some dude from Wrestling Observer, not Metzger, but some guy from Wrestling Observer said that it's basically a done deal that Tessa Blanchard and her husband, Dago, Dagger, something. Daga. I can never remember what it is. It's like Daga.
Yeah, that's not a memorable name. It's not your fault.
Well, okay, he's Mexican. He's Mexican descent, and immediately I always like go into a bad place when I try to start pronouncing his name because I go to that word you shouldn't say. That, but yeah,
I would just call him Drago. That's cool. I like Drago better.
Or Braga. You remember Fast and Furious?
Braga.
See, he needs us.
Well, ironically enough, Braga is the last name of the lead female from Queen of the South. So anyway, we're going off topic here. It really is, yeah.
I don't care.
Alice Braga, she's awesome. She's in Suicide Squad. But they said that there is a done deal. They've been in talks that they're basically going to be signing any moment with AEW.
Huh?
And then Metzger came out and said that's absolutely not true. There's been no talks whatsoever. So the whole Tessa Blanchard saga is still kind of out there. Apparently, I don't
Dude,
know.
I'm calling it now. She's the diamond person thing from NXT. The vignette with the diamonds. You know, the diamond, because she always has a diamond. It's got to be her.
I mean, the rumor always was that there was pretty much a given that she's going to be going to WWE of some sort. So
Yeah, because we all know WWE loves racists. It's a tale as old as time.
yeah.
I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Look at Hulk Hogan like being the host of WrestleMania. I mean,
Yep.
Anywho, so that was I put the internet wrestling community on blast for like a good 12 hours. They're like, what the hell? Where does anyway? So that's apparently not happening. Another thing that's not happening is Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan, I didn't realize his contract actually did expire. Like I knew he was getting close, but I still assume he's going to re-sign in some capacity with WWE. He probably will. But there was a hot minute where I was like, what if Daniel Bryan shows up on AEW? And I'm just like, why don't you shut the hell up? That's a stupid thing to say.
I'm out.
Anyway, but what is it? The interesting part about all these rumors and stuff, because most of them are a whole lot of nothing, right? But Chris Jericho was on, I don't know if it was his podcast or someone else's podcast, but he was on something, and he was basically just laying it down how much he'd love to have a Samoa Joe in AEW. And Samoa Joe has a lot of history with a good number of people in there. Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, anybody from TNA for one. He's been very familiar with the Young Bucks from the past. I think it's a foregone conclusion. We think that that's his best fit, but having Jericho like flat out just say it and call it out is fantastic. So we'll see what happens. But all that talk leads to a whole lot of nothing, which is this time of year. It's interesting. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. Well, the good news that's out there for AEW is that Double or Nothing coming up on May 30th is going to have full attendance.
Yes.
Ah.
Pop City.
Now
City.
it's at Daly's place, so it's like 5,500. So it's not like a full arena, but still though, 5,500 in that outdoor amphitheater, it's going to be so great,
Yes.
so good.
You know who needs to be on the pre-show for that?
Who's that?
Maki Ito.
Yes, Maki. If you're listening, Maki, please come back for a just one night. Just do us one night. Come back for more, but do just one night at minimum.
Yeah.
So, there's a bunch of rumors, a bunch of stuff going around there, but that's kind of the goings on with AEW right now. There wasn't a ton of other news out there about AEW really. Everything's just been they've been kind of keeping all their ducks in a row, getting everything lined up for Double or Nothing coming up here. I truly believe that in a couple months here, we're going to start to see them touring too, because they have those few dates that got pushed back, just like a couple weeks or a couple months. So if Double or Nothing goes well, you might start getting full attendance for Dynamite because it's at the same place. Let's see what happens. So speaking of Dynamite, there was a Dynamite last night, and it was a big event, Dynamite. Jamie, why don't you talk to us about the Blood and Guts show?
It was a big event, and Blood and Guts was a good event. So it didn't have a big card, really, because they really truncated some of these matches too. But it did have some very impactful and very meaningful things, at least in my opinion, gentlemen. So it starts off with the AEW AAA TNA and Impact champion Kenny Omega with Michael Nakazawa.
Who's called MK Nakazawa or MT Nakazawa now, which is weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but they keep calling him Nak or Knack.
He's always been his nickname. Nak,
Yeah, he's a snack, yeah. With Don Callis, of course, and they were going against none other than Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. It was a quick match. I mean, it still was about a 10-minute match, but it was okay. I'm not going to really get into too much of it.
Yeah.
Basically, Michael Nakazawa got singled out, and Kenny Omega walked away, and Moxley and Kingston did some kind of finisher type move on him. Got 1, 2, 3.
It had a name, which sure.
Yeah, it was
right.
like he had him in a half Nelson, and he did a clothesline on him, and it was like a half and half.
Yes, they called it. They called it a
and
half and half, which I'm
like,
okay.
what the hell? Okay, it's like
So
I'm more of a full. Yeah.
Neither of these guys. This isn't a tag team. Does not make them into a full-time tag team, which they're going to do. But
yeah, because right after that, here come out the Young Bucks, and they distract him, and then here are the damn Good Brothers, and then they just start beating the shit out of these guys. And next thing you know, everybody's just beating them up. And I just the big thing out of that whole thing was, what the hell was Matt Jackson wearing?
You sound like Tony Schiavone, because Tony Schiavone said he had like a floral short, like jumpers with the short, like the summer jumper. That's what he was wearing.
And
Couldn't stand Nick's earring either.
Oh,
Awful.
yeah, fair.
Just awful.
Well, they're purposely trying to be as
I
douchey as
know.
possible.
They're
I do
succeeding.
appreciate that, but
They're
Matt.
succeeding.
So Matt's wife on Twitter. Matt's wife on Twitter goes, "Why are you wearing your Hawaiian shirt? We're not going there for 2 months." Like, she just stayed kayfabe with it. I thought it was great.
That's great. Yeah, Shivani's like, what the hell's Matt? What's Matt wearing? He's wearing someone's curtains. Oh my God! It's just like,
Yeah. It was.
it was fine. It was whatever. I know what they're going with this, and I don't care for it because they're setting it up for Mox and Kingston to feud with the Bucks, which we'll talk about here when we get to tag team stuff. But whatever.
Then after that, you had another match. You had QT Marshall. It's Marshall. He gets really pissed off now if you say Marshall. It's Marshall with 2 L's.
I did not catch. You're being dead serious.
Yeah, there was an interview with him. He's like, I don't understand why everybody is like, it's like, what should I do? It's like, drop.
He doesn't have shit for charisma. God,
no.
No. Oh my God, he's like the ninth wonder Nick of AEW.
Lance Storm.
He's the way.
Sorry, young boy.
I'll have my time later.
You will. Yeah, we do give Nick a segment every week. So maybe I should take the dogging down a bit. I won't, but I probably should.
So, this match was a match. Cody Rhodes ends up winning by a figure 4, and then right after that, a Go-Go came out and did his super punch into a stomach, and I guess that's like super debilitating. Yeah, whatever.
It's
so dumb.
I was so excited to see this guy because it's like an Olympic athlete, a fit boxer. He's been training. I was like, this could be something, right? He does one thing, and it's that, and it's just like,
Yeah,
it's the worst.
What else?
He drapes like a UK flag over him. It's just the whole thing. This took more time, this match and aftermatch, than the Moxley and Omega stuff. Which,
then right after that, they do a little quick Scorpio Sky Ethan Page thing, and then they start talking. Ethan Page just talks about how many times he's hurt Darby Allin in the past. Blah blah blah. And they talk about how they beat up Sting, and Scorpio Sky says, "I'm the franchise now, bitch," which I thought was absolutely hilarious.
I love Scorpio. I really do.
Yeah, so then after that, Darby Allin comes out of nowhere and it tries to attack them. And, of course, Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky just beat the bloody piss out of him, and they throw him down a flight of stairs.
They're on the. Cool. You forgot to say.
Enjoy that.
I liked that. You forgot to say they're on the very top of the arena.
Yes, they're
like
on the very
top, rafter area.
The
so
tippy top.
I
You
really
can't fake
thought.
that.
No, and he went down. He
fake
that.
Oh no!
And he was.
I forgot about
They threw.
that.
Yeah, you did. They threw him down like one flight of stairs there, but I thought he was going to go down the whole thing to the next level.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, just because it's the
I mean,
stair
his
step
landing looked rough as hell too. So like,
Yeah.
it legitimate looks like he got messed up.
He got
so we'll see.
bumped hard. So that looked better than the whole
Yeah.
QT.
Yeah. If I had
Cody
to rank
thing.
those like match wise, it wasn't even a match, and it was higher. Yep. Well, speaking of not a very good match, but at least got us some Britt Baker airtime, was Britt Baker with Rebel. Remember, Reba and Rebel, so it's Rebel versus local cheerleader competitor Julia Hart. She had some kind of cheerleader outfit thing
cheerleader
on.
shtick, which very original. This is her like second match in AEW. She was on one of the darks this week or last, whatever. I can't remember. But
Yeah,
it's fine. It's whatever.
It was a Beyond Squash match.
It was the point. Yeah.
Yeah, Britt Baker hits white noise or whatever they're calling it for her, and then she goes for a pin. Oh no! And picks her head up on purpose and puts her in a lockjaw. She taps out. Britt Baker, DMD, also our future AEW Women's Champion, got the W.
Well, that was the whole point of the match because they said about 13 times that, official going to be taking on Hikaru Shida at Double or Nothing. So, I'm fine with it. Whatever.
She's taking the belt home. I am calling it now.
I'm with you 100% on that. We have the same pick on that. Cha-ching.
Yep. Lock it in. All right. So then after that, they do a quick Taz breakdown of Christian, which
He just shot on. He was just shooting on Christian. And who cares? This once again, this Team Taz thing, I'm over with.
I mean, I'm okay with it because he does talk about how Christian Cage can't leap anymore, and he misses his kill switch because of footwork. No, he misses his kill switch because it's his only goddamn move. Okay, like every match I see of this guy, he goes for that prettier 50 times in every match, and it just drives me nuts. But whatever. Then he also talked about how Brian Cage did beat Hangman Page. So, whatevs.
Obligatory Taz airtime.
Yes.
That's pretty much what that was.
So then after that, we actually had a pretty good match after that. It was really short. It was really short, but it was really good. And that was for
It wasn't really short. It covered a whole commercial break.
Well,
and
we'll talk
some.
about commercial breaks here in a minute because
Oh
they
no.
kinda went
I
wild.
understand. But I'm telling you, this match, before, during, and after. So I'm just saying.
So this was This was to become a #1 contender for next week on Dynamite. Also, it had a odd stipulation of if SCU loses, they are no longer a tag team.
That's not a stipulation of the match. That's something that at the beginning of the last December, because they kept going through a losing streak, and
That's right.
And Christopher
That's right.
Daniels told that's between them that if they lose, Daniels is walking away. They're done. Yeah.
Yeah. So they'll be walking away next week.
Yes, it's his retirement match. Let's be honest.
Yeah. So sorry. Spoiler.
Oh, we just spoiled the whole thing.
Yeah. I should tell you who's in it first. So we had the Varsity Blondes, jobbers, SCU, the Acclaimed, and then Jurassic Express with Marco Stunt. And the highlight of the whole thing, I thought was the best, of course, is Max Caster's rap in the beginning. It's like, dude,
it's always good. It's good to see Bowen's back. He looked good. Jungle Boy's getting better. I mean, he's one of the future linchpins, and it was a decent match. There was plenty of spots left and right all over the place. It was fun to watch.
Yeah.
It was more of a typical like everything before this was kind of out of place. Now, the Britt Baker squash, I get that. Okay. But the other stuff was just kind of like meh. This was actually a typical like Dynamite. This is a good wrestling match. I enjoyed it.
I wanted more of it. Personally.
Yeah.
That was my whole thing. I just wanted a little bit more of it. After that, you got into Jon Moxley's defending his IWGP US Championship against Yuji Nagata, who is a staple in New Japan Wrestling. If you do not know who Yuji Nagata is, he is definitely worth a Google. He is old school submission style. He kind of is strong style, but he's more submission style. Like his style is very him. It's kind of hard to explain. Blue Justice is also his moniker, but talked about how he called Moxley a little punk at some point. I don't know. I didn't hear it at all.
Sure.
But whatevs. Tried to build that up. Blah, blah, blah. They're facing each other next week. Then Tony Schiavone has a special guest. And he announces that Kenny Omega come out for the big announcement. And Kenny Omega
Right.
comes out in a really sweet white suit with the AEW championship belt on him. And then Nakazawa comes out with the rest of the belts on each shoulder. And then
TNA belt he's wearing.
yeah, I thought it was great. So the big announcement basically was that the two number one and number 2, which it sucks that Adam Hangman Page fell out of this because I feel like that should have
No,
been.
that's all out. I'm still saying that's the long play. They're long playing Page versus Hangman and all out.
Okay. And
That's
if that happens when we're there.
That's been my prediction for a little bit here, and I'm put me on blast if it doesn't happen because that's my prediction.
Yeah, so the number 1 contender is Pac, and the number 2 contender is Orange Cassidy. So
Yeah.
this was a nice little thing here. And then, of course, here goes Omega saying, oh, he's got to face Pac. He's got to face Pac. They've already had a great match. Just go ahead and make the match now. Then Shivani's like, well, Orange Cassidy's in there. And he's like, who? And then here comes Orange Cassidy out, and then he starts berating Orange Cassidy, takes his sunglasses off of him, and goes, oh, Ray-Ban. Oh, what blah, blah, blah. And he puts him on Michael Nakazawa, which he did a terrible job putting him on Michael Nakazawa's face.
Oh, he did.
Just
he
for
missed
the record.
missed in the air. He was terrible.
It was bad, but I mean, Orange Cassidy, every time they kept saying it, he's getting huge pop. So it kind of looks like they're setting up
gonna
for
be Orange.
Cassidy to get the dub.
If I had to make a prediction right now, it's Orange Cassidy, but I don't think he's not taking that belt from him.
Then
Oh, this promo.
another announcement came out right after that, and it made my heart happy like
This was
none other.
So good. This is good. Like Kenny's, and here's the funny thing. This one you're going to talk about was short, concise. It was only like 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops, if that.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega was on the TV for about 10 or 11 minutes with his promo, and it was like you're rambling too much. This one though, oh please,
Yeah.
tell.
So Miro comes out and he talks about how he just beat the hell out of Kip Sabian. I mean, they talk about it when he walks up. And he's like, no one's going to stand in front of me in my destiny. And my destiny comes next week. And he pulls out a contract and he's just like, Darby Allin. So it's like, it's set. Him and Darby Allin are going at it. And then he ended with this phrase, and I love it.
You wrote it down too, because I
Yes,
definitely wrote it
he's
down.
like-
It's fantastic.
Yeah, Miro says next week the world finds out when the man who doesn't mind dying meets the man who doesn't mind killing. It's
Killing
so
him.
good. Killing him. Yes, it is so good. I'm like, oh
Love
my
it.
goodness.
That needs to be a shirt. That needs to be a shirt.
It just might be. It just might be.
Well, I say this is a T-shirt company, right? So
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
First
I
of all-
mean, I'm still waiting for the Britt Baker ones that she was on our TV. I'm assuming she's got another T-shirt now, 'cause that's usually how it happens.
It usually happens. Let's talk about, before we get to Blood and Guts, real fast. Card for next week. You have Miro versus Darby Allin, TT Championship. I think Miro's going to win that too, by the way. I think it's time. It's past time. Miro needs the belt. So you have TNT Championship. You have the IWGP Championship with Moxley. You have a Tag Team Championship match. Young Bucks versus SCU. I mean, hey, there's that. Next week is freaking stacked, man.
Yeah, because Tony Schiavone's going to interview Jade
Cargill.
And then Cody Rhodes is also making a Double or Nothing announcement. I think he's making the Double or Nothing announcement at full capacity.
Yeah. So, I mean, next week's going to be a ridiculous show, which I'm all about. So,
Yes. So it's main event time. And it's the Pinnacle versus the Inner Circle. The Pinnacle comes out. Everybody's wearing white, which I thought was a nice little thing.
that's an interesting choice.
Yeah, and then the Inner Circle, everybody comes out wearing prison garbs. The one piece, the onesie, whatever the hell, jumpsuit.
Yeah,
There we go.
jumpsuit, black prison jumpsuits with their with like localized to them. So
Yes.
Santana Ortiz had Staten Island or Rikers Island. Sammy Guevara had Harris County, because he's from Houston. I was like, that's a nice touch.
Yeah.
And the dead president look for the Santana Ortiz was great.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that.
This-
Ortiz's didn't last very long, but
No.
No, it did not, but he came out like a house on fire. So, for everybody who didn't watch it, the way it worked out was one man from each side start, and then every 5 minutes, another competitor,
5 minutes to start for 2.
5 minutes to start, and
then 2 minutes intervals.
2-minute intervals, and it'd be one from each side, not at the exact same time. It's 2 minutes, then another 2 minutes, then boom, 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 boom. So, since the Pinnacle won whatever, they got the first person in, or the second person in, but the first two that started was Dax and Sammy Guevara, and that was fun to watch. Then we got, I'm not gonna get into everything because it just got bonkers really quick.
It did.
But the one thing I really want to call out, one is Sammy Guevara almost killed himself with a botch, and then
Yeah.
but before he almost killed himself with that botch, he did a sick Spanish fly off of the ropes between him and
Sean Spears.
Sean Spears were fighting on two of the ropes, the two
Where the two rings
stacked
meet,
together.
the
Yeah,
top
where they
ropes.
meet.
It was a double top rope.
Yeah,
And then
Sean
Spears
Spears
ca-
gets hit in the back with a chair by Ortiz, and then he comes over to the same rope as Sammy, and Sammy does a Spanish fly with him.
So
It
gorgeous. It
looked
was
amazing.
I'm in all caps with that note. I was just like, I lost my stuff. Sammy was my MVP, despite almost dying. It was a bad botch, but he had a coast to coast that looked pretty sick into a chair, and into once again Sean Spears.
That was a Van Daminator. Old school Van Daminator.
Sure, whatever you want to call it, but it looked
I'm
cool
not
as hell.
I'm not calling it coast to coast because that means we have to acknowledge Shane McMahon, and I am not doing that.
yeah.
You don't have to acknowledge it. It's what they called it on the TV.
It's just wrong. It's a Van Daminator.
Whatever. You just want to highlight instead of a WWE official, a WWE Hall of Famer. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
Makes
It's
a
the
lot
same
more
thing.
sense.
It's the same thing. He jumped from one rope straight across. It's cool.
Shut up.
It's like wow. That's okay. That's the hill you want to die on. Okay, sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm not gonna get into it. Like it was bloody, obviously. Ripped up one of the rings and got to the plywood at the bottom. At one point, towards the end, MJF scales the top and gets to the very top. Jericho follows him. Jericho puts him in the walls of Jericho. It was not the Lion Tamer. Pissed me off so much. I was
You're not
hoping
going to
for
see
a-
him do a lion tamer ever again, dude. He's too old.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He
It
did
was
one
definitely
against
a missed
Cody
opportunity.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or a year ago.
It's the last time you'll see it.
Probably. So then MJF hits a low blow when he's doing the walls of Jericho. Then he puts him in the salt of the earth armbar submission. He doesn't tap out. And then he gets out his ring, and MJF punches Jericho in the face, so he's dazed and confused, and he's getting ready to throw him off the side, like a straight up Mankind moment. And all of the inner circle sees what's going on, so they say, no, don't do it, we surrender, don't do it. So the Pinnacle gets the win because of that, but the Pinnacle was getting their ass waxed in that whole match up until that moment, though.
Yeah.
So Pinnacle wins. And then afterwards, a typical MJF move, tosses him off the top onto this nice little box setup, which he's never been there before.
Yeah.
You know, and he.
I noticed it earlier on the night. I go, why is there an extra stage on top of the stage? Oh, well, that's why.
Yeah. So they threw.
Somebody's going through
They
it.
threw Jericho on there, and there's a bunch of bags underneath. And also, one thing I did notice too is it did have the diamond plate, but the
Yeah, it
diamond
was
plate
foam
that was
diamond
there.
plate.
Yeah,
It
the
was
diamond plate
yeah.
that was there was the rubber diamond plate, because they did have regular diamond plate up before, and then you saw, because none of it was connected. But before they did, so they slid it out at some point while you know the mayhem was happening. But yeah, so Jericho went through that, and
It is
everybody's
what it
acting stunned.
It broke his back. I mean, here's my thing about the match. Okay, overall, it was good. Okay, it was good. If and I thought about this before it happened. I was like, I still can't believe it's on regular TV.
Yeah.
But when you look back on this, if this was on a pay-per-view, it would have been at least twice as good, because they had to like pace it in a way so like during the picture-in-picture they weren't missing anything, so inevitably you get one team get super dominant so that during the picture-in-picture you're not missing big spots and all that stuff. So it had a stopping a herky-jerkiness to the flow.
And to your point on that, like there were so many damn commercials breaks in this. Like I think I counted up 4.
I know.
4 commercial breaks. And they did that within a span of 30 minutes, and they never do that. Like, it's like 1 in that 30 minutes, maybe 2. But they did 4.
Part of it makes me wonder if it was the network, because if you notice, this is the first Dynamite that had a parental advisory before each of the hours.
I did notice.
Like, when you watch the beginning of it, parental advisory, I go, that's an interesting thing for a TV wrestling show. Okay.
Well,
and then again on hour 2.
They pimped the hell out of it.
That's fine. And hopefully the ratings will be there for it. I don't know. It's like, was it to me for JJ? Was it as good as a War Games match? No, it was not.
I agree.
There wasn't the weapons. There's not a table broken. There wasn't somebody thrown off the top into a thing, right? But you had a couple chairs, a bat. And here's one thing that I did notice that it annoyed me just as a perfectionist or whatever. There was 3 people I could see visibly reach for blades, and I saw them blade themselves. And Jericho is one of them.
Yeah.
He is very not hiding it very subtly, and it was very clear they were cutting themselves, and it just kind of was like, okay, all right, well, you could do a little better job of hiding that.
And then did you notice he was all Vaselined up too?
Oh,
His
yeah.
entire face is Vaselined up so he wouldn't get regular cut. It'd have to
Twitter
be
was definitely
controlled.
on that too. Yeah. So when he was in the Salt the Earth, he had his other hand. He has his other hand like this because he was holding the blade that he just pulled out of his wristband. So,
Yeah.
so I mean, you lost a little bit there if you're in the know. If you didn't, whatever. But I don't know. It just as good as I wanted it to be. I think that for TV it was fine, but it could have been a lot better. And it was fine. Shivani did have a slip up and called MJF a piece of shit on live TV. So he did. There was that.
I don't think it
You
was
know
a
what's
slip.
funny,
I think
man,
it's
is I
perfect.
heard it, but it just fit right in. Like, it didn't catch me off guard. It was
Oh, he
just
hates
so
it.
natural.
It was probably kayfabe, but he has like Shivani's heat for MJF is more than either of your heat for Cameron Grimes. I mean, he just like the way he comes at him is just, oh my god, and I love it. It was great. That was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a few good spots. Sammy to me was the MVP. Like I said, even though he almost died. It was fine.
So I guys, like I know we typically we do this. I'm gonna give Blood and Guts a squash fest. Like that's where I'm going with it.
That's
It was-
actually where I was going too, because it wasn't the oh my god that we expected, and the rest of the card was take away the tag team match. The card sucked,
it was rushed.
and it was you could have got rid of one of those matches or I don't know. It just it was fine. It was squash fest for me too. Nick, what do you think?
What do we got? We got total, and then we got spot, and then we got squash.
Squash and shit. No, squat and then
Snooze.
snooze and then shit fest.
Snooze is what I'm looking for.
Remember snooze fest?
Blood and Guts was cool. I agree with everything you guys just said about it. It definitely kicked everything up a notch, and like JJ said, it was more of a pay-per-view type match. Of course, in a pay-per-view, they would have kicked it up another notch, but it was, in my opinion, carrying the weight of the entire evening. But that being said, I had a headache. So who knows? Maybe it was just me. There's always that possibility.
I love his justification for some of the ratings that he gives too.
It's
I watched Godzilla versus Kong before it, so I wasn't in a good mood. So I'm gonna knock it a star.
It's a
I had a
pre-qualifier.
headache and-
It's a pre-qualifier. It's a disclaimer for the people at home who don't know me as well as you two do. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. But, I love AEW with all my heart. But tonight was one of those nights that,
It was fine.
I didn't hate it.
I think in a manner of speaking, it might have been take it down a notch a little bit more because they were expecting a lot of new eyes into the thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think
that's a
probably
great-
right.
Trying to lure him in. That's just my opinion. But we'll
I
see.
think that's probably right, JJ.
Well,
Anyway,
anyway,
I'm still thinking 1.5. That's still.
I know there's some chick on Twitter. I can't remember who it was, but she's like a wrestling fan or whatever. She promised to show her bare ass if they hit 2 mil. I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Yeah,
but-
I did. It's a total joke. And then some chode, 50-year-old WWE.
Some neckbeard,
Nerd.
just
Yeah.
went to town. It became a whole thing. It literally like my lunch hour was spent just going through like the Twitter, like because it was gold back and forth. All these people, and she's just sitting there chiming in like you're a moron. I just loved it. It was great. Anyway,
Yeah, and that guy's like, oh, the IWC is taking her side, blah, blah, blah. I jerk off with Cheeto dust, blah, blah, blah. I was like, fuck off, dude. Like, come on, man.
all right. So at the end of the show, with Pinnacle is the top faction, right? That's their whole thing. So JB, you asked the question: Are there too many factions in AEW? I know this has been a talk online. I've read articles about this too. What do you guys' thoughts? I'll give you my thoughts too. Are there too many factions in AEW?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Abso-freaking-lutely. I think it's good to have a couple factions here and there. I think it's they have been in Japan for a long time because it feels like if you're not in a faction in Japan, then you aren't successful. Like Bullet Club,
Right.
and they have all these other ones. Will Ospreay's one. I can't think of what it's called.
I don't know what it's called.
And then like Tetsuya Nato's his, there's a whole
There's
bunch
a bunch
of
of there's El Incongruables. That's not how you say it, but you know which one I'm talking
yeah,
about.
there's a Spanish one. That's the one he's in, I think. It's like a Spanish one over
It's
in
called
Japan.
it's all Spanish theme. There's no Spanish guys in it.
Yeah. So I feel like they do what they know, and factions are what they know.
Okay.
And is it too many? Absolutely. But I do think they got some good ones. They definitely have some good ones. But like the Nightmare Factory, the Factory, those gotta go. I love the Dark Order. It's just, I don't know. Like
Without a leader, they're kind of rudderless.
right. They need somebody to right the ship and get some W's for them because right now
That's-
they're just a comedy bit, and
yeah.
there's so much more than that.
Well,
Absolutely.
Hangman's the guy. I want to see Hangman take a turn, and whatever. But I could talk about. We could have a whole podcast talking about Dark Order for me. Here's the counterpoint that I will say. I can't remember who this is. I can't remember if it was one of the Jacksons or Cody, but the question was asked to one of them about that. Too many factions, and the defense was this, and it's an interesting argument when you think about it, that they are a 2-hour on TV and some internet stuff a week, 2-hour show. Okay, they're less than 3 years old, right? So they're not extremely old company. If you're not in a faction, where are you? You're you're lost because in order to get that airtime, Dark Order is a perfect example. Would Alan Angel's 5? He's on TV every week. If he wasn't in Dark Order, we would see him never,
Yeah, on Dark.
or on a royal or on a battle royal. Every once in a while, because you have to give the airtime to your top guys. So the factions are a way to get everybody airtime and so that they can continue getting momentum and get them matches on the smaller, on dark and dark elevation. It's an interesting counterpoint. I feel I don't see. I'm on the fence with this, to be honest with you. I think that I've always been a faction guy since NWO. I've always loved factions.
Same.
Big factions, small factions. I love them. I got Death Triangle shirt. I love Death Triangle. Love my Dark Order stuff. Inner Circle's great. Pinnacle's good. I'm good with the Pinnacle. But then you start getting like the Hardy Family Office, and you have like the Nightmare Family, which nobody knows what the Nightmare Family is. It's just whoever the hell is a face. You're in the Nightmare Family apparently. The Factory, and then you have just goes on and on and on. I think that there is too much of that but is it a bad thing? I don't know. Nick?
I think it is. And I was thinking the same thing that you were talking about, Jamie. I think it's really obvious that that's what's going on, because most of the guys and this is my beef. Let me just get straight to the point. I like a straight up match. Now, it's cool to have some shenanigans, and it's cool to have, your one-off scenarios where chaos ensues. But I think for me personally, it takes away from the entire match, the entire evening, in the case of having multiple factions. When you go out there and you have one person from a faction wrestle one person from another faction, and you're 5 minutes into the match before 30 people are on your screen, and it's just, it's just a melee. And to me, nothing really gets accomplished when that happens. I get it. You've got people on the payroll and you do want to promote them. But at a certain point, you've got to stop and say, well, am I promoting them properly? Am I promoting them well by just having them as an extra in this frame of 50 people? I don't think so, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's just me. I'm not Cody Rhodes, and I don't have...
Fair.
have a wrestling company, so I
true.
I don't enjoy it personally.
So
one thing I do want to say on the faction note, I love the Inner Circle with all my heart, and I love all of its players. I am dying to see Santana and Ortiz break free. I don't want to see the end of the Inner Circle, but I definitely want to see Santana and Ortiz on their own.
That would be the end of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, so
this could be the perfect time to do it with Jericho, maybe kayfabe hurt, whatever.
Yeah, so I do want to build on something that you said, JJ, because that does bring up a good, interesting point that, in order to get people airtime, you have to be in factions, and I get that. Well, I feel like they're old enough now that they don't need to do that anymore.
Well,
like to your point, like it's time. It's time for them to act a little bit more grown up with it.
And you made the comment. I remember it was one of our previous shows. Well, it had to be on Monday because we didn't have any shows last week. But talking about Tony Khan saying that he's ready to cut people. That he has people that the payroll's a little bit too big, or the roster's a little too big as it is.
Yeah.
They've been in talks for a while with Turner about having a second show. Because I think here's the thing: you have a second show, even if it's like an hour-long show, but you have a second live show on TV, right? You cut a little bit, trim a little bit of the fat. Sorry, but you trim a little bit of the roster here and there. You're good. You don't need all the factions. You don't need, because then you can have people survive on their own.
Yeah,
but I'm with you. Yeah,
I think it's time. That's where I'm at.
It will happen. I'm sure it will happen. But let us know what you guys think. Too many factions? Do you like factions? Do you want everybody in a faction? Give us a comment or give us a shout on Twitter at Total Spotfest.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's good. That's a good little topic. We're gonna start pulling in topics every week too. We figure, it's like there are some things that we gloss over here and there. Sometimes it needs just a little discussion. So
yeah, and I think is it that time?
It's that time. We in order to to reward our young boy for being able to press the microphone button correctly this week.
Yep. Speaking of factions,
yeah. Hey, it's the best faction.
Airtime.
It's the best faction of all. TSL's the best. So we'll have merch one day. We'll be a real faction.
Yes.
So we have a little treat. We don't know what this is going to entail, but it is time for bitch moves by the young boy.
I've got two very specific bitch moves that are likely to upset some people, but I think it's something that we need to bring to the table. Okay. The first one I want to get out of the way quickly because it brings me pain, frankly, and I think it'll bring everybody else some pain as well. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there are multiple forms of elder abuse. I mean, there's neglect, there is exploitation, there's physical abuse, so on and so forth. And then there's whatever the hell Car Shield is doing to Ric Flair. And I just think it's time. I think it's time
Oh God!
to leave Ric Flair alone. It's time to leave him alone.
Counter argument. How do you know it's not Ric Flair trying to get that money?
He is trying to get that money, and I'm saying Charlotte should cut him a check. Let him move in.
Okay.
Take
All
care
right.
of the man.
All right.
I'm staying strong with my comment a while back when he tried to take credit for Lacey Evans getting pregnant. That we need to give him the old Yeller treatment and just take him out the back and shoot him.
Yes, dude. I mean, you know what's funny?
I love you to death, Rick.
Yeah, we saw him live. What, a year and a half ago or something like that.
I did not go to that. I did not go to that.
Well, see, that's what I was gonna say, Jamie. So at the time, we were under the impression like, oh man, he probably just got ripped, backstage before the show. But dude, he talks like that all the time. Like he's got that Don Vito, rest in peace. He's got that Don Vito type of speech pattern. Just kind of just wild. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
it's like that all the time.
Woo!
Dude, yes. And when I see him like in the sequins and the feathers, like I don't see Ric Flair anymore. I see an old lady on her way to play bridge at the country club. You know what I mean? So that's all I wanted to say. I think that it's elder abuse what Car Shield is doing to Ric Flair, and you can let us know how you feel about it.
Side note: he does beat up Peter. He does beat up Peter Avalon in that commercials. So there's that.
There is that. There is that. There needed to be something.
All right, so that's your first bitch move. That's
my
okay.
first one.
Didn't see that coming. What was your other bitch move? You said you had two this week.
Yeah, this one's gonna make you guys mad at me.
Okay, let's do this.
Here we go.
Do it.
I just got to get this off my chest. Squash matches suck. I know that they serve a function, that they have a purpose. I hate them. I hate them, or I should say more specifically, I hate how they are being implemented currently. So like the two most recent examples we have was, let me get this one out of the way first because I'm going to go to town on this other one just because. The first one was Britt Baker and Julia Hart. Here's the thing with the squash matches. Immediately it's going to be a squash match because you got a headliner with a jobber, right?
With no music.
With no music.
Local talent, yeah.
Who's already in the ring.
And immediately, you're going to look at maybe 3-4 moves, boom, match is over. And then we go to commercial, right? So it's just uninteresting. You know how it's going to go, and who cares?
Right, yeah.
And then this other one we had was, JJ took a deep breath on that one.
I'm waiting. I'm like, where's... So far, I'm like, okay, I agree with you.
Cameron Grimes and Asher Hale.
I don't know.
Now,
was that from last night's NXT?
Yes. Now
I haven't watched NXT yet.
Here's where I'm going with.
Thanks for spoiling that match.
This is going to. Right? Well, that's the thing. You would know immediately how it's going to go.
Oh yeah, no, I do know. Yeah, I already know the. I already know the result.
And this is why I saved this.
To the moon.
Unless Ted DiBiase's there. Goddamn Ted DiBiase.
So,
I hate him. I hate this guy.
so this match in particular brings me into the second part of my point. The squash match, in my estimation, it's to build upon a given character. You're trying to pump them up, make them look strong. You're promoting them without risk, and then making them look like a monster compared to whoever happens to be in the ring with them.
Yeah.
That being said, if that's the case, which I believe it probably is, it's a self-defeating endeavor because you're not making yourself look like a monster. You're not really propping yourself up because you're beating the guy that was pushing a mop in the hallway 10 minutes earlier. So it really just kind of comes off as unnecessary and boring to me. But there's at least one squash match in every single show, no matter what company you're watching. And I just think it's time to do away with it, at least for a while.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Well, I'm
going
surprised.
to actually.
Oh,
Here we go. Here we
okay.
go. Okay.
You go ahead. You disagree then. Let me hear this.
So, first of all, I'll never defend Cameron Grimes. But
wait till he wins that $1 million championship, and then you wear his shirt.
and I'll burn the motherfucker.
After you wear it.
Yeah, well, maybe while it's on. That's how bad I feel. But anyway, so Britt Baker's. Britt Baker served a very logical purpose. It got Britt Baker airtime on TV because she is the face of the women's division. It makes a lot of sense. So it usually for men, to your point, it is, to build them up. And usually it's with the big monster, big guys type.
Right.
Very, very seldom do you see the smaller, tiny, puny Cameron Grimes types that, get these squash matches. And I cannot stress how much of a puny Cameron Grimes is. But then you have the Braun Strowmans of the world. That's who it's built for. It's built for those types of guys who may say words that have 2 syllables 4 times in their life, never go above the 2-syllable word.
Well, you've been dogging hard on Strowman lately. Oh my god!
Wow, he is his character is dumb. And
Get these
it makes him
hands.
seem dumb.
Get these hands and a train whistle. That's it.
He's always yeah.
The word he says that has the most syllables or anything is "ugh."
Dude,
legit.
I gotta throw this in real quick, Jamie, before I forget. Before we get too far off topic, you were talking about how
Too late.
how puny Cameron Grimes was. I just want to state for the record that the jobber that they had to find for him only weighed 185 pounds, which is 20 pounds smaller than I am.
Yeah.
I am
Was it
not
James
a professional
Ellsworth?
wrestler.
Is it
Dude,
James
it's
All
basically-
I want to say
basically.
is, first of all, see Leon Ruff talking about tiny puny. Okay, that guy is soaking wet 100 pounds.
but he's athletic as hell, and he doesn't do squash matches.
You're talking. Okay. The squash match, it by itself, is an antiquated idea. It's another relic of the golden age of wrestling. It was big in the 80s. It was, like you said, the point of a squash match, we all know what the point is. You can't speak on the mic, go out there, this is the way you get your... It's very similar. Okay, it's not dissimilar from the whole AEW faction idea. This is how you get
Well
your face
said.
on TV. You're going to go out there and you're going to do this. I'm with Nick, though. I could do without a squash match 95% of the time. Occasionally you have one that's just, comically written or done or whatever. Or there's some aspect to it that flips. Like you have a future champion like Cameron Grimes out there. Yeah, that's cool. Great. But, I don't know. It's like, for the most part, I could have done without it. I know the point of the Britt Baker one. I could have done without that match in last night's show. The only women's match on Dynamite last night. Could have done without it. They did everything they did besides her being on screen The point of that was to promote that she's going to be fighting for the championship. They also showed that graphic at least a dozen times. So
Yeah.
I'm with Nick on this. I think the squash match is long overdue to be gone.
I'm a 60-40 guy on it. I feel like 60% of the time it's actually needed, especially if you have young, up-and-coming, like, big monsters type guys. That Aziz guy or whatever, like, he's going to get tons of squash matches because we've never seen him really wrestle. We've only seen him on Raw Underground as a Dabo or whatever.
Dabakato,
whatever. Yeah. Like, yeah.
Who'd have thought that I'd be clamoring for Raw Underground?
Right?
But no, please, no, Raw, no WWE.
While WWE is going to be on TV, there will always be squash matches. And honestly, there is a place for a squash match on occasion. Like I said, 60% of the time, actually, I flip-flop. 60% of the time, we probably don't need it. 40% of the time, we do. Like, I still believe Britt Baker's is one that we did need because they did need to have a female presence on there, and she was the right female presence.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. So that's I don't officially stand by it, especially when you have like the super weak, damn near fragile, barely have any kind of charisma, Cameron Grimes type squash matches.
I just think in general it's not needed. It's just not needed.
You
Kind of
who
like
loves
Cameron Grimes. I love you, JJ.
I can't wait till there's a wrestler you guys love that is the stupidest fucking wrestler out there. I am gonna tear you apart. I'm gonna tear you guys apart. You're like, oh, I love this. Like if also the Shockmaster comes back and you both get instant hard on, I'm gonna rip you to. I'm gonna rip you to shreds.
That would be a
it.
reboot. I would be behind.
I do want to give a shout out to our buddy Adam Goldberg on Twitter, though. He actually retweeted a gif of one of the Cameron Grimes segment last night and said, because he was basically the same thing as you for months, Jamie, and he said, I tell you what, I'm coming around this Cameron Grimes. I like
to
this
the
guy
squash
now.
match. He was coming around to it.
No, it was like a club segment where he couldn't get in the club, but Ted DiBiase could.
Yeah,
We're going to talk a lot about Cameron
you're
Grimes
just
next
making stuff up
Tuesday.
now.
So. Maybe if you're on Twitter, maybe you'd be able to actually have a fucking valid opinion about that. You know?
You might interact with people.
You dick. All right, that's all the time you get. You're
That's
done.
fair. That's
cut
fair.
off. So, let Ric Flair die peacefully and fuck squash matches. That's Nick's words of the week.
That's it.
Okay.
Those are my bitch moves.
Okay. All right. Well,
I feel like they're valid.
I was expecting more controversial stuff than that.
I thought it would
who
be,
knows?
but I guess I'll have to try harder next time.
Oh no! I think you'll stumble upon it naturally, given time.
Honestly, from
It'll
what I
come
was
to
expecting to this, like, this is so much better because I was expecting, like, guys, it's pretty awesome, a good thumb of the ass. Like, I was like, what the hell? Like, that was the level I was expecting. I was like, okay, we got something that's good, relevant.
Well, we were starting to get off the rails, so we're going to wrap it up for this week. Thank you guys for joining us. We do appreciate your time. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Did you like Dynamite? What are your thoughts on squash matches? Are you guys sick of seeing Ric Flair shell himself for money to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there? Give us a comment down below if you're on YouTube. Give us a shout on Twitter. If not, that's at Spotfest. You can holler at Jamie at JFaulkner56. I am at JMoney1536. Just open your window and yell to the sky, and Nick will hear you.
Yep.
That's how you get a hold of him. So thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday with our TSL roundabout. We got Impact going on tonight. More New Japan stuff. We got night 2 of Wrestling Dontaku. Did I say that right?
Wrestle Dontaku.
Oh, I was so close.
You
Close.
did very good. I'm very proud of you.
Spoiler alert, the main event from night 2 was 44 minutes and change, and oh my God.
It was beautiful. Like,
I watched it.
5-star.
I watched it.
Maybe a 6. It was
talk-
that good.
If you want to hear more, join us on Tuesday. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about what shit WWE's thrown on TV lately, and some some interesting stuff happened. Cameron Grimes aside, interesting stuff happened last night on NXT. So we'll be back next Thursday with our Dynamite review. It's got to be a better show than this one. It's going to be a straight up banger. 3 title matches. Is this the Miro Ascension? We'll find out. So once again, thank you for joining us. We do appreciate it. We'll see you guys next time. Nick, why don't you say some nice words to the people?
I'm
All right. Thank you, Nick. All right. Jamie, take us home.
Well, if you're not down with TSL, I got 4 words for you. Thumb in the ass.
Oh, that's I see a Photoshop job in my future. All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Later.